Shalom. Allah start out by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakakadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of great millstone. Salutations to the hopeful elect that's pushing this truth across the four corners of earth in all fair truth and sincerity. This I'm gonna want to buy back and giving us sitting. Excuse me. This one going to about on this article. It's kind of some days, some couple of days old, whatever. But it's about says this from Capital B article, Capital B News. It said U.S. votes no as UN calls slave trade gravest crime and backs reparations. It says global leaders are moving towards reparations, but U.S. Opposition leaves Black Americans fighting that battle largely on their own. Because you had the UN, called slave trade as the gravest crime and backs reparations, but the U.S. says no. And those them imposters over there in Atlanta, Israel. Those Amalek, them Khazars, and them and those wannabes, gutter rats, and you have these people in the governing office officials, whatever, in the U.S., the Edomites that's, in power in these offices, vote no, not acknowledging, the the Atlantic slave trade, that happened to the to the Israelites, the Negroes, tribe of Judah, the Southern Kingdom, Judah, Benjamin, Levi, but to say the Southern Kingdom within the slave trade, and you could have some Northern Kingdom as well in that too, but most of the Northern Kingdom was in America, for the most part, but these, like I said, these so-called white people, Esau, Edomite devils, they hate you. That, like I said, that goes to show that these so-called white people, Esau, Edomite devils, they hate you, so-called Negro, Latino natives. They hate you Israelites, man. They know who you is. They don't want to give you shit. They don't want to pay back nothing. They don't want to apologize, nothing. They want the Israelites to be, destroyed, and like I said, they want us to completely just, to be wiped off the face of the earth. But they had it their way. But but they're not gonna have it their way, because the Lord Yahushua is not gonna let the Esau and my devils fully, want to achieve their wicked, agendas, plans, and that's why the Edomite devils, they gonna go into slavery, that's gonna be the, that get back for the Edomites. They gonna go into slavery, they gonna get double hardcore slavery, for all they done to the so-called Negro, Latino natives, Israelites, to the Israelites, to the Southern Kingdom and the Northern Kingdom of Israel, of the Israelites, the 12 tribes, their time, rulership is coming to the end, and their judgment is gonna be, they're gonna be, being those chains, being changed, and getting whipped, chained up, and getting whipped, and it's getting beaten in the head with a rod of iron, you know. But let me read some more of this article. It said United States joined Israel and Argentina on Thursday in voting against an Ghana-led resolution that declared the transatlantic trafficking of enslaved Africans the gravest crime against humanity, and urged countries to pursue reparations. The non-binding measure, backed by more than 120 nations, calls for formal apologies, compensations, and other forms of reparatory justice for people of African descent worldwide. So, they're talking about the Negroes, right? Because the so-called Negroes are not Africans, not Africans. We so-called Negroes are the tribe of Judah, which are the Israelites, the so-called Negroes in the Southern Kingdom, Benjamin, which today are the so-called Jamaicans, Levi, which are today the so-called Haitians, are Israelites, but being in here in America, the Negroes, like I said, are the tribe of Judah, are from the tribe of Judah, which are the Israelites. They are not African, so that's one thing right there. Acknowledging that you Negroes and Latinos and natives are the Israelites. Y'all are not by these bywords that these Edomite devils have gave you. Know who you are. Because these other nations, they know who you is. And most of them don't want to tell you who you are unless you find out. And like I said, the truth is out there. This knowledge of who you are, you so-called Negroes and Latino natives, Israelite, which are the Israelites. This it's out there. The apostles and the elders and the elders of Brother Great Millstone are giving you an understanding of that. But you gotta be willing to believe that, But you still have Negro, Latino, Native Israelites. They think they still, these bywords, man. Like I say, they still think they African Americans, Mexican, and Spaniard or Spanish, and so forth, man. They going by the bywords, or they what they are there. The Edomite devils, so-called white people that's in power. So-called white people, red people, East Edomite devils that's in power. Y'all going by what the names they gave you. That's not who you are, according to the Bible. And like I said, the apostles and the elders and the brother grandmothers don't give you the understanding of who you are, according to the Bible. You 12 tribes. Let me see. So some more. The measure explicit links centuries of slavery to today's anti-black racism and economic inequality. Washington's refusal to support it puts the U.S. at odds with much of the global South and with black reparations advocates at home who see the vote as a rare opening for global accountability on slavery's enduring harms and tests of U.S. leaders stated commits to racial justice. So I say again, black. That's a that's a color. That's not who you is. That's not who you Negroes is and Latinos and natives. You are the Israelites, according to the Bible. But We're not gonna get Israelites, so-called Negro Latino natives, which are Israelites. I'm not gonna get reparations, from the Edomite devils, man. They ain't gonna pay us shit. They don't want to. They the wicked, man. They hate you, Israelites, man. So-called Negro Latino natives. That's why the Lord Yahushua got returned and bring these devils down. And the Edomite devils, so-called white people, red people, got to go into slavery, man. Yahushua got to be the one to bring them down. Return the chairs, so-called UFO. The zapping with the laser beams, and then like I said, the thermal missiles being shot and destroying everything here in America, Babylon the Great. Other countries gonna get hit with missiles as well. But America, Babylon the Great gonna be completely destroyed. But once the smoke clears, the ones that the ones that's in power, the bankers, the elites, and so forth, that run this world and fund those small hats over there in the land of Israel, those imposters, they fund they fund most of the stuff around. They control the media, they fund the wars and all and stuff like that, and but they're gonna excuse me, but they're not gonna escape their judgment. They're gonna go into hardcore slavery, but so I'm gonna get some scriptures to back this up. There's some more on this, but I'm just trying to read the kind of go into a little bit of this. But go to Psalms 149:6. Let the high praises of the Most High be in their mouth, and a two-edged sword in their hand. And like I said, that's the apostles and the elders and brother grandmas on teaching this truth, condemning these so-called white people, Esau and my doubles, for all the atrocities and rape, rob, and murders of the so-called Negro Latino natives, which are the Israelites. And having this sword, which is the word, because right now this word that the apostles and the elders and the elders of brother Gravenstone teaching is getting to the Edomite devils. This truth is being pushed out, and people are seeing and hearing it, by way of the internet. The middle of the house by way is on the internet teaching this truth, and people seeing like, this is accurate, of what they saying, or they teaching, for like, the truth of the Bible and who the real chosen people of the Lord are. And it's getting to the Edomite doubles, man. And that's why they're trying, they're trying to stop the stop the truth and try to get rid of the internet, which I say, it's gonna come about. That's gonna come about by the way the Lord Yahushua is gonna, like I say, he gonna remove his prophets out of the streets, however that comes about. Like I say, this place going down, all hell break loose, and whatever how it come about, where YouTube gets taken away. However it come about, it's gonna be taken away. It's not gonna be because of the Edomites they want to, because they want to right now, but it's not gonna be because of them, But this word, this truth that the apostles and the elders of brother Graham are teaching and pushing are getting to these so-called white people, Esau Edomite doubles, man. But next verse, Psalms 49:7, to execute vengeance upon the heathen and punishment upon the people. And I say, and I say, this truth, like I say, it's getting to the Edomite doubles. And like I say, condemning these so-called white people, East Edomites, for what they done and what's their future, And they don't want to hear that, Because like I say, their judgment is going to come down upon them when Lord Yahushua returns, and destroy this place, America, Babylon the Great. That's why, they pushing hard, to try to, execute their NWO agenda. you know, but it's not going to fully work for them. It's not going to fully come to pass or prosper for them like they want to, because like I said, Lord Yahushua is going to return and interrupt, the Edomite devils from executing, their wicked NWO agenda plans. Psalms 49:8, to bind their kings with chains, and nobles with fetter of iron. So that's what's gonna happen to these, I say these these elites of the so-called white people, East Edomite doubles. We're gonna bind them in chains, and chains, and have them chained up. How they like how they did the Negroes, Latino natives. How the Negroes, which are the Judites, and chained up. How that iron, on their hands, feet, on their neck, chained up. They gonna go in that same way, but it's gonna be way worse. It's gonna be 2 times worse, And they don't want to hear that, They don't want to hear that, but it's gonna come about. It's gonna happen, man. But Psalms 149:9, to execute upon them the judgment written, this honor have all his saints, praise ye the Lord Yahweh Yahushua. So, hey, the word of the Lord, his word is true, His word is not gonna fail. Yahushua's word is not gonna fail, man. It's gonna come to pass. And you Edomite devils gonna go into hardcore slavery, man. Y'all not gonna get away. Y'all not gonna get away with all the rape, rob, and murder you've done to the so-called Negro, Latino, Native Israelites, man. That payback coming. It's coming. But go from there. Jeremiah 49:12, for thus said the Lord Yahweh, behold, they whose judgment was not to drink of the cup have assuredly drunken, and art thou he that shall altogether go unpunished. Thou shalt not go unpunished, but thou shalt surely drink of it. So, hey, like, yeah, hey, you Edomite doubles, you so-called white people, red people, hey, y'all not gonna get away. Like I said, y'all not gonna get away from all what you done, what y'all done to the earth. You stealing, the so-called Negro, Latino, Israelites identity. You rape, rob, and murdering the so-called Negro, Latino, Israelites, and still to this day you doing the Lord's people wrong. Y'all not gonna go unpunished for all what you done. Y'all gonna drink up that cup of slavery. Like I said, y'all gonna get that hardcore double 1,000-year slavery. And y'all gonna drink all of it. Y'all gonna deal with all of it, man. Y'all got a lot. Y'all Edomite devils got a lot coming to y'all, man. Y'all future is gonna be shit. I can't even say hell. More than that, shit, it's gonna be worse. It's gonna be, y'all gonna have to deal with all what's coming to y'all, man. But go from there. I'll end off with this. I didn't want to make this too long. It's Revelation 18:6. Reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her. Excuse me. Read that again. Revelation 18:6. Reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her, double according to her works. And the cup which she had filled to her double. So yeah. Hey man, I say you I say this place, America, Babylon Great, gonna be destroyed. When Lord Yahushua returns, and the thermonuclear missiles, be shot towards America, Babylon the Great, burning up everything here. But then, like I say, you so-called white people, Edomite devils, like I said, like I said before, you gonna go into hardcore slavery. Y'all gonna get double, like I said, double. Y'all gonna have to do a double cup of the slavery, man. 1,000 years of slavery. Y'all not gonna get away. Y'all gonna try to escape, but y'all not gonna escape y'all judgment, man. That's for you, so-called white people, Esau, so-called white people, red people, Esau, Edomite, the nation of Edom, the nation of Edom, you Edomite doubles. Y'all not gonna escape. Y'all not gonna escape y'all. Excuse me. Y'all not gonna escape y'all judgment. Y'all gonna get that 1,000 years of slavery, and then after 1,000 years, y'all gonna be done away with, man. Ain't gonna be no more the nation of Edom after y'all 1,000 years of slavery is done. So that's gonna be the payback. That's really what the so-called that's what the elect of the so-called Negro, Latino, Native Israelites want. Those that believe in Lord Yahushua and His truth that the apostles and the elders and the brother great minister teaching. Understanding of this word, this truth. That's what the elect desire and want to see. Hey, forget, that money and whatever. Fuck all that. Want to see you, really want to see you Edomite devils going to slavery, man. Get chained up, get out the power seat. Get out the way. Because long you so-called white people, Esau, Edomite devils in power, it's always gonna be something going on. Y'all messing up something. Some type of confusion or chaos gonna come about because y'all still around. So really, it's all about you Edomite devils, going to slavery and dealing with 1,000 years of slavery, and then being done away with in the nation of Edom, be done away with after 1,000 years of slavery, man. That's what the elect is waiting and having waiting for and having hope for, and having you Edomite devils just slavery and slaves and get rid and getting done away with. So with that, hope this was edifying. I didn't want to make this too long. So again, I'd like to give all praise and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua, Bahashem, Kakadash, to the apostles, elders, to the Sisagian brothers, to the few Aqua sisters that do listen, keep the faith in Yahushua.